Hey everybody, it's Matt from You and Your Horror Movies, and welcome to another random review. Decided to do a review for you because one, it's random. Two, I haven't put out a review in a bit, so I just randomly went through my collection and grabbed the film. This one I grabbed was from 2006. Echo Bridge released the DVD, and it was actually put out by Halmark Channel. Made for TV movie, which I was kind of shocked to see at first. The title alone kind of had me, oh, looks interesting. But realizing it was a Hallmark made me really think about it. But of course, it was only $1. Worst comes to worst, the movie sucks. I wasted $1, wasted an hour or so in my life, whatever. Done worse things before with more money. But anyway, I decided why not give it a watch. And it of course involves one of the greatest detectives of all. Not Batman, but we're talking about Sherlock Holmes. And this is actually a movie called Case of the Whitechapel Vampire. Now, the Case of the Whitechapel Vampire, when I watched it, it kind of reminded me of like a little bit of a proto-slasher, the way how this movie worked. Now, they're saying this has to do with Jack the Ripper. It has nothing to do with Jack the Ripper. So I thought, well, okay. But pretty much it takes place in Whitechapel, London, where, of course, the great Sherlock Holmes is too busy doing his crossword puzzles and being very, educational towards Watson. Come to find out there's been some murders during Whitechapel, where people of this holy clergy have weird puncture wounds in their neck. Kind of like almost like a vampire. So, of course, he wasn't intrigued at first, but then he decided he took the case. Well, of course, we see this killer who is in this big black gray robe, looks very evil looking, going around picking certain people off, especially this clergy, one at a time. Again, that's kind of like a slasher. Someone picks someone off, especially a group here and there. So the great Sherlock Holmes is trying to figure out who is it, because he does not believe vampires at all exist. He works closely with this one special scientist who works with vampire bats. And they all think it's him because he works at night. He does everything all dark and demented, and of course Sherlock's like, no, it's not him. Sherlock Holmes is very educated. He knows what's going on. He looks for certain clues that no one else would find. And of course he finds the certain clues. And of course someone else is found murdered, and they got two puncture marks in their neck. It's not very gory or bloody, but people are getting killed one at a time, which I actually thought was pretty interesting. This definitely held my attention to this whole movie. I was kind of figured, well, it's going to be kind of like a boring murder mystery or just a mystery in itself. But again, I found out to be kind of like a Sherlock Holmes in a slasher film. Cool. The way he finds his so-called person doing it was very interesting. How things occurred. Again, he's very smart. He looks at certain things no one else will look at. Special claw marks on the side of the building, certain smells, aromas, everything that would take place. So, of course, this was written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, turned into a made-for-TV movie. Would I recommend this movie? Abso-freaking-lutely. I was actually shocked at how good this was. Very good for $1. You could probably get this pretty cheap on Amazon on DVD, but I recommend it. If you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes, you're going to like this. Now, there's been many Sherlock Holmes films very horror related. Hound of the Baskervilles, anything that has to do with Jack the Ripper. Study in Terror has to be a film that's related to Sherlock Holmes. So pretty much Sherlock Holmes is pretty much going after serial killers during these time periods. So I thought that's pretty neat how it could take into a horror aspect. So I definitely recommend this film. If you like these type of movies, definitely. If you like murder mystery, this is probably right up your alley. If I remember correctly, there's no real special features to the DVD. Maybe some trailers from other films. But again, Hallmark Entertainment put this out, which kind of shocked me. When I saw, Case of the Whitechapel Vampire, I'm like, all right, you got me with the title. You got me with Sherlock Holmes. I always liked his stories. So, other than that, this was put out in 2006. Now, the gentleman who plays Sherlock Holmes is Matt Frerewear. Yeah, I'm probably saying all these wrongs. But he's been in multiple films itself. Watson is played by Kenneth Welsh. He was in The Fog, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, so pretty much you have yourself this individual maybe going around being a vampire, or maybe he's actually being a killer with a special weapon. So I recommend checking out Case of the Whitechapel Vampire from 2006. Surprisingly, from the Hallmark Channel. I might have to look at to see if they have any more Hallmark Channel Sherlock Holmes movies, because I was actually impressed. Does have a good body count. Again, not very gory at all, but you do see like a little bit of blood here and there from the victims that are murdered. They don't talk with a very hard English accent, so it's very understandable to watch. So again, definitely check it out, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Definitely check out The Case of the Whitechapel Vampire. Again, put out by Hallmark Channel, released on Echo Bridge, basic DVD. Doesn't think it has a Blu-ray. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. Peace.